Hey guys, Desolator Magic back with another great video. Now I will say, obviously, as you've noticed, this is a bit longer of a video. I do like to make some short videos with just, commentary or jokes or whatever, or deck ideas, and then I like to occasionally make very, very, very serious videos that are a bit longer or as long as they appropriately need to be. So this is more like, you just tuned into the Desolator Magic talk show, and we're gonna talk about what's wrong with Magic, basically. What is absolutely wrong with Magic right now? Because people are kind of getting that feeling that something isn't right, it's not as fun as it used to be, but nobody can really nail it down. So if you feel like really having an in-depth analysis of what's all going wrong and what I think Wizards needs to fix, then this video is for you. Otherwise, feel free to watch my much, much, much less serious videos, which are definitely more entertaining. But like I said, gotta get serious once in a while because the Friday Night Magic attendance numbers are down, deck costs are up well over 500%, and everyone is just generally unhappy. In fact, my local gaming store holds simultaneous modern and standard formats, and I really don't want to play either of them right now. I mean, what the heck is going wrong here? I love MTG, as you might have noticed from my channel content. I also obviously hate a lot of things in MTG, but in general, I wouldn't have a channel about MTG if I didn't like it. But right now, I don't like it. And that is a very serious problem, so I had to make a serious video about it. So hang on, and feel free to leave a comment in the comment section about what you think about all this. Now, of course, the short answer to this question is that it's all Wizards' fault. No surprises there. The slightly longer answer is that it's the set designer's fault, it's the R&D department's fault, and whoever is responsible for card banning, it's their fault as well. We'll just call it the banning committee. I have no idea. It's probably just a chimpanzee throwing darts at a dartboard, for all I know. I mean, that's about the results that they've been coming up with lately, so whatever. Now, I would say it's 99% Wizards' fault and about 1% NetDecker's fault, because everything is NetDecker's faults, and I hate them. In case you're new to the channel, I thought I'd, throw that one out there. They are quite literally responsible for all the evil in the entire world. They are Pandora's box, basically. This really goes back to Wizards just not controlling the metagame correctly. They just don't care about control. They don't want to be seen as having a whole bunch of control. And some people agree with that. And people say, no, we want to take a hands-off approach and let the community handle it, and the meta will always fix itself. Well, how's that working out right now? It's a freaking disaster. So sometimes they have to step in and, add a little dictatorship to their little democracy. First of all, let's talk about Modern. I've changed my mind a little bit about the Eldrazi Takeover situation compared to my last video, because it was like a day later. Casting your whole hand on turn 1 for free, yeah, that needs to be dealt with immediately, not this upcoming April. Everybody agrees Eye of Ugin is going to be banned in April. I don't think we should even have to wait that long, but it would be considered an emergency ban if they did it earlier than April, and that would just be embarrassing to them. So Eye of Ugin was a huge mistake, and Eldrazi Mimic and Endless One prove it. I can't really say those cards are mistakes because they're not even that great in Standard. They're only just okay. They're very appropriately powered. But Eye of Ugin, holy crap, so that's really the card that's at fault. This all goes back to Wizards' inability to see and ban problem decks, or even just problem cards, before they ruin a tournament or 2 or 5. I mean, it's really not that hard. All they have to do is identify the cards and the combos and say, oh yeah, that is too powerful, and do something about it immediately without hesitation. Then, the later they wait, the more they end up looking like correctionist idiots who made a giant mistake. Instead of preventing a problem before it happened, they lose customers and they lose tournament attendees in the process. And then they know that they look like idiots when they have to admit, yeah, we screwed up, we gotta ban this card, instead of, hey, we just noticed that this deck doesn't work with the new standard set. We're going to ban this card right now, but of course, oh, we just printed it as an expedition, whoops. That's what really happened. I mean, come on, let's be honest. So if they would have seen Mimic and Endless One working with Eye of Ugin, well beforehand and done something about it, every single person who attended the last tournament apparently put 2 and 2 together with those 2 cards, then they could have banned it and stopped the problem before it even showed up to 1 tournament. Now, the price is skyrocketed on Mimics and Endless One, and people are picking up the deck, and they all know darn well it's not going to last past April, but they know that they can kind of cheat their way through a tournament with it before it gets banned. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the card already is banned, we're just waiting on it. So yes, this barely affects me because one of my modern decks at least can regularly stomp the crap out of the most powerful forms of the Eldrazi deck, but I don't care. I said in an earlier video that they should just let the meta shift and let people form new decks for once and see if those new decks can deal with the Eldrazi. That is completely dead wrong. It's just too powerful. Why should the entire meta have to shift to creature removal and mass creature removal and infinite obliteration type effects just to combat one stupid deck? And then what do they do when the Eldrazi decks stop being popular? Keep playing those decks that have a single purpose? I mean, they'd probably switch back to the normal decks and then, oh look, a resurgence of Eldrazi decks. It's just an overpowered deck. It's gonna keep being a problem until they ban it, so ban it. It's so obvious. So when they do finally fix this Eldrazi catastrophe, Modern would go back to the same tired, boring, idiotic pile of crap that it always was. Except, I guess, without Splinter Twin or Amulet Bloom now. The very first thing that everyone said when they announced the ban was, what other existing decks are people now going to fall back on? Will it be Infect, Tron, or Affinity? And there was like 2 more mentioned. Well, how about somebody maybe comes up with a new deck concept for once? You know, maybe tries to win with that instead of the same crap they've been playing for the last 5 years. I mean, if you're about to say that that doesn't work at all, well, go tell that to the guy who designed the very first Eldrazi deck. He was right. I mean, I think that's been proven by now. He came up with a pretty good deck idea all on his own. In fact, I should probably toot my own horn a little bit by saying that my Beholder deck can beat practically anything if it pulls the right cards over time. It's an absolute minefield to play against, and it came out of absolutely nowhere with cards that nobody's ever heard of. There are 2 main reasons why Modern is a completely unplayable pile of crap right now. And I mean, besides the immense deck cost, the card unavailability, wildly fluctuating prices, and like the more practical problems, I mean, assuming you get past all that and then you actually do play Modern, these are the problems. It's just the same old control spamming decks versus infinite loops. I mean, if you look at all the decks, that's what it is. So, or it's like repetitive buildup. I kind of consider that like an infinite loop because it's like a bunch of triggers going off. So yeah, Affinity would be in there as well. So here's the problem with infinite loop and combo decks. Would you rather watch the Olympic javelin throwers just go out there and throw a javelin for distance, or would you rather see them throw javelins at each other? I mean, you probably know where I'm going with this. Which would be more exciting between the two? Probably people trying to dodge javelins. That would be something to watch. With some modern decks, honestly, the players might as well not even be sitting at the same table because they're not going to interact with each other in any way. They could just shout at each other between the tables, hey, did your deck win yet? And then go to the next turn and say, hey, did your deck win yet now? And all they're doing is scrying, drawing, fetching, and just getting their way built up to some idiotic rule-breaking card exploit combo, like an infinite loop or an infinite drop or something, and they're not even playing against each other. They're playing against their own deck, trying not to do the combo, I guess. I mean, that's it. It's nothing but sheer draw luck that determine the winner. Nothing but just probability and numbers, and that determines if a deck is truly better and will work more reliably. So if your deck, the combo goes off 75% of the time and somebody else is 80, it's a better deck, and that's it. It's not about their playing skill, nothing. So the matches are glorified solitaire, basically. It's just absolutely terrible, and the people playing it don't even have to know basic MTG strategy. They just have to know their own deck. It's just like 2 people trying to accomplish a goal faster than the other person, and they're not even really competing with each other. The matchups are pretty simple then. You either get like a mirror-ish match where it's just a drag race to see who can get their combo to go off first, or you get a combo looper type deck and put it up against a control deck that's throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at it, trying to stop it, and maybe they might get a creature out eventually and swing at them and win like a normal way, if they can disrupt their combo enough or stop it enough times that they're like top decking or whatever. Or you get a true like 3+ color ultra control heavy deck that's just paranoid and just ready to stop everything. You know, remove every creature and cancel every spell because it's color mixed. And it's the same stupid tired crap like Lightning Bolt, Kill Spells, Remand. It's just the same cards over and over and over. I mean, how many times have you seen Lightning Bolt, Thoughtseize? I mean, you could probably name them even better than I could. Serum Visions. I mean, it's just terrible. And then they just just blow each other out of the water to the point where neither of them can do anything. Those matches are at least a little bit more exciting because it's kind of like an interactive shootout and it kind of looks like they're playing Magic against each other, but I'm just sick of seeing the same dozen or so cards in every single deck, and that's literally all it is. People get a little bit more creative, like, oh, there's an alternative Thoughtseize. So what? It's the same concept, so it's basically the same card. Plus, it makes the prices on those cards go completely insane, so nobody can even get into Modern in the first place because everybody wants the same set of just a couple dozen cards, and that's it. Want to build your own homemade Modern deck to start playing Modern? Oh my god, you better either be an expert deck builder or you are going to get destroyed. I mean, there is no entry-level Modern, sorry to tell you. I mean, I guess you'd call it casual or extended or like, I don't know, whatever you want to play with your friends. If your local gaming store allows Modern format for Friday Night Magic, you better go there with one heck of a deck because chances are, if things are as typical as they are around my area, people are going to be playing the top decks, and that's it. Nobody's coming up with new ideas. Nobody's trying anything different. And that isn't so much of a problem because people almost always start playing Standard and then they move up to Modern once they're really good at playing Standard. Or I should say just playing Magic the Gathering in general. You know, maybe they started with Commander. Sure, why not? But it really is a step up on the skill spectrum and on the price spectrum, that's for sure. So if they were to power down it a little bit, it would alleviate some of these problems. But the good news is, speaking of that, there is a fix for all of this. There's a couple steps that they could take that are pretty simple. I mean, it would just be decisions. It wouldn't be like whole restructuring of something or redo the way they do everything or redo how they print cards or make a drastic change. It's really actually quite subtle changes. So I did some math, I did some thinking, I thought about, what would happen if they do this? Would this fix anything? Or what would happen if they do this? And then I read some suggestions on the internet from people who said, boy, I wish they would fix this about Modern. So I took all that and put it together into part 2 of this video, which is how to fix Modern. So now that you know from this video what's completely broken in Modern and, well, broken in Standard right now as well, sort of, touched on that, I will provide the solutions, so definitely watch the next video.